Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Troy Clayton, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Squadron Leader Lee Stanway. We warmly welcome the family of Trooper Michael Edward Larkin, whose story will be told shortly. We are also honoured to welcome members of the No. 2 Squadron Association who are joining us today to commemorate the 50th anniversary of deployment to South Vietnam. Each day over 4 years, the squadron flew 10 to 12 sorties against the Viet Cong and the North Vietnamese Army targets. We also welcome current serving members of No. 2 Squadron. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that support them. We also acknowledge the members of the RSL and Services Club Association, RSL Victoria, and RSL Queensland, who are watching the ceremony broadcast around Australia. During the ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by family and visitors. Australia's Federation Guard is the tri-service ceremonial unit of the Australian Defence Force. They provide a ceremonial presence at civil and military events during visits to Australia by foreign dignitaries. The Guard will now dismount the catapult party from the tomb of the unknown Australian soldier. Please stand and join in singing the national anthem.
Australia.
The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Trooper Michael Edward Larkin. Born to Michael and Catherine in Mitcham in Victoria, Larkin was working as a labourer in Castleton in the state's Western District when he enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force on the 1st of December 1914. At 25 years old, he was taken into the 8th Light Horse Regiment, which together with the 9th and the 10th Regiments made up the 3rd Light Horse Brigade. Trooper Larkin and his regiment sailed from Melbourne in February 1915 and arrived in Egypt the following month, where they undertook further training. As a reinforcement to the regiment, Larkin did not initially go to Anzac, when the 3rd Light Horse Brigade was called upon in late May 1915. Instead, he arrived on Gallipoli Peninsula in late July, as the British and Dominion troops were preparing for the August offensive. The series of assaults were an all-out attempt to break the military deadlock on the Gallipoli Peninsula, and its battles were the largest of the 8-month-long campaign. On the 7th of August, the 8th Regiment was assigned to attacking the Turkish position at the Neck, a narrow bridge of land in the strategic position across the top of the Monash Valley, between Russell's Top and Baby 700. The first wave of 150 Victorian light horsemen leapt from their trenches and into no man's land at 4:30 a.m. They were mown down by machine gun and concentrated rifle fire, with only a few reaching the enemy trenches, where they were also killed. 2 minutes later, the second wave of men from the 8th Regiment was sent into the killing zone and to the same fate. A short time later, and in spite of a plea to cancel the attack, the third line of soldiers from the 10th Light Horse went over the top and were also shot down. Cancellation was again suggested, but before a decision was made, the right flank of the 4th line charged as a result of a misunderstanding, and the rest of the line followed. They too were mowed down by Turkish fire. Trooper Larkin was amongst those that charged the Neck in one of the first 2 waves, and he was killed in action that day. He was one of the 8th Light Horse Regiment's 154 fatal casualties and 234 total casualties. The 10th Regiment suffered 138 casualties, 80 fatal. Larkin's body was not recovered, and today his name is listed on the Lone Pine Memorial on Gallipoli. Larkin had 3 older brothers that enlisted and served with the AIF. Andrew, a railway worker, joined up in Sydney just a day after Michael and served with the 1st Australian Field Artillery Brigade. He died of wounds in Belgium on the 22nd of July 1917. Vincent Larkin enlisted in November 1916 and was initially assigned to the Camel Corps, but later transferred to the 4th Light Horse Machine Gun Squadron. He returned from the war. The eldest brother, John Larkin, enlisted in March 1918 and went to England, assigned to the 35th Battalion, but the war was over before he could be called up to the front. Michael Edward Larkin's name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among more than 60,000 Australians who died while serving the First World War. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Trooper Larkin, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor thoughts condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
Catapult party, hey! Arms!
lest we forget.
Lest we forget.
Catapult party and words. Turn. Catapult party, quick march.
We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub of Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We'd like to thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.